I want to start with a number. For every 100 rupees a man earns in India, a woman earns approximately 72. That is not a rounding error. That is not a pipeline problem. That is nearly 30 rupees per 100 disappearing from your salary, your savings, your retirement, your independence. Every single day you work. And most women, most of us have no idea exactly how much we are leaving on the table or what to do. Before we talk about what you can do, because a lot of the conventional explanations for the pay gap are incomplete at best and misleading at absolute worst. Myth 1. Women earn less because they choose lower paying careers. Partially true, but research shows that when women enter a field in large numbers, average wages in that field fall. The work doesn't change. The pay follows the gender. Myth 2. Women earn less because they take time off for caregiving. Partially true, but the motherhood penalty is real and documented, while the fatherhood bonus is equally real and equally documented. Same behavior, opposite outcome. Myth 3. The gap is closing on its own. The World Economic Forum's 2025 Global Gender Gap Report estimates full parity will take 123 years at current rates. I don't have 123 years, do you? So what actually drives the gap in addition to these factors is this. Women ask for less, accept the first offer more often, and negotiate less frequently than men. Not because they are less ambitious, but because they have been socialized to believe that asking makes them seem difficult. We are going to dismantle that belief today. We'll try to. Know your number. That's step 1. The first step to closing your personal pay gap is knowing what you should be earning, not what you're earning, what you should be earning. Use platforms, do your research, use platforms like LinkedIn, Salary, Glassdoor, Ambition Box, and Levels.fyi for your specific role, industry, and city. Collect at least 5 to 7 data points before you walk into any conversation. Research 2. Talk to peers, particularly male peers at your level. I know this feels uncomfortable, do it anyway. The discomfort of one conversation is nothing compared to the cost of years of underpayment. Research 3. Factor in total compensation, not just base salary, bonuses, stock options, healthcare, flexibility, learning budgets. These have real monetary value. Know the full picture before you compare. And once you have your number, the market rate for your role, your experience, your impact, write it down. This is your anchor. Everything else is a negotiation around this anchor. Now, how do you build your case? Data alone does not win a negotiation. Your case does. And your case is built on these 3 things: your market value, your demonstrated impact, and your future contribution. Pillar 1 is your market value. So you would say, based on my research across comparable roles in this industry, the market rate for this position is X. I want to make sure that my compensation reflects that. Pillar 2, demonstrated impact. Come with 3 specific examples of outcomes that you have driven. Revenue generated, costs reduced, problems solved, teams built, numbers wherever possible. In the last year, I delivered X, which resulted in Y. Pillar 3, future contribution. Here is what I'm planning to drive in the next 12 months. You're not just asking to be paid for what you've done. You're pricing what you're going to do. This combination of market data, past impact, and future value is a case that is very hard to dismiss. Most people walk into salary conversations with one of these. You're going to walk in with all three, which is why your research is so important. And writing down that number is so important. Now let's look at the conversation itself. Let's talk about the actual conversation that you will have, because how you say it matters as much as what you say. Book a dedicated meeting. Do not have this conversation in a corridor or at the end of a one-on-one about something else. Book it, name it. I'd love 30 minutes to discuss my compensation. When works for you? This signals seriousness before you say another word. Anchor first. Name your number before they name theirs. Research consistently shows that whoever speaks first sets the range. Say, based on my research and the value I'm bringing, I'm looking at X, and stop talking. Let the silence sit. How do you handle the pushback? If they say the number is impossible, don't retreat. Immediately ask, help me understand what's driving that. Is this a budget cycle band or something else? You've bought yourself information. You also shown that you came prepared. Close cleanly. Whether you get a yes or a let me think about it, always ask, can we agree on a timeline for this conversation? Don't leave without a next step. Because when you leave without a next step, the other person is going to take it for granted that you're not as serious as you seemed. So what do you do when they say no? This is important. Let's talk about the no, because no is not the end of the conversation. It is the beginning of a new one. If no, ask, what would need to be true for this conversation to go differently in 6 months? Get specific criteria. Write them down. Come back in 6 months with the evidence against every criteria they named. If still no, assess whether the ceiling is the role or the organization itself. Sometimes you're not underpaid because you haven't made your case well enough. Sometimes you're underpaid because the organization has decided what you are worth, and that number is not going to move. Knowing that difference is valuable information. The leverage you always have, your skills are portable. The moment you are clear on your market value, you are clear on your options. Options create leverage. Leverage changes conversations. Knowing what you are worth and asking for it is not aggressive. It is not ungrateful. It is not difficult. It is the most basic act of professional self-respect. And you deserve to do it without apology. So here's your action for this week. Here is what I want you to do before episode 3. Look up the market rate for your current role. Use at least 3 platforms. Write down the range. Then compare it honestly to what you are currently earning. If there is a gap, and for most women there will be, that gap is your homework, not something to feel bad about, something to close and something to address. And if you already know your number and you've been waiting for permission to ask, consider this your permission. You do not need to wait for the performance cycle. You do not need to wait until you have been there longer. You need to ask when you have the case. Build the case, make the ask. You deserve to be paid accurately, not charitably, not hopefully, accurately. Episode 3 is coming up, and we're going to talk about something that affects every woman in every workplace, whether she names it or she doesn't. Bias, microaggressions, and exactly how to handle them without it costing you your reputation or your peace. Subscribe, share, and leave me a comment. What was your biggest insight from this episode? I promise you, I read every comment, and I'll see you in the next episode.